Hi guys, welcome to Common Core and Gifted Learning. This is Sneha, and if you're new to my channel, please subscribe and press on the bell button so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video. And I'll be posting a lot of anchor charts related to the lessons of these topics that I'll be talking about today in my Instagram. So I'll be posting my handle somewhere in the description box. So please look for it. So before I start with my third grade math curriculum topic list, I wanted to tell you that from here on it really gets comprehensive, as in the list kind of is long for the topics. So I'll be posting these lists on my Instagram as well as on my Facebook page, so that if you need to print them out for your own convenience, you may. So let's start. Third grade math, first we'll start place value. So in third grade, everything becomes 3 and up, like any operation, any place value, or say skip counting becomes goes to hundreds and thousands, and thousand concept is introduced. So we'll be doing up to 5-digit, 3 to 5-digit, and then compare and order numbers. In comparing and ordering numbers, we will be also doing 3-digit and up, nothing before that. Skip counting, we will be only doing hundreds and up to 250. Rounding to nearest within 1,000, and they'll be mixing it up so that they want to know, they have, if they can compare the hundreds with the thousands, and basically review of the second grade is very essential before even you start the third grade, because these are little complicated and often the kids take time to process. Now, a new concept, parenthesis operation. If you're from the Indian system, we used to call it BODMAS method, but over here they call it PEDMAS, as in parenthesis is in bracket. We don't have division yet, so basically we will be doing the order of operations up to 6 numbers with addition, subtraction, and multiplication only. So as we followed the BODMAS method, similarly here the parenthesis as in the bracket first, then multiplication, then addition, and then at the end subtraction. That's the order we'll be following. Then addition, mental math, of course, everything is thousand and hundreds and up to 4-digit, and in a column form with carryover, of course, and what problems related to that. And subtraction, it will be again same mental math, column form up to 4-digit and borrow from 0. So anything, if your child doesn't know anything before the 4-digit, you have to start from that. So if your child is getting into complications with a 4-digit, I would advise you to take a step back. Take a step back first, and get used to the third 3-digit and 2-digit, and then probably move on to the fourth. That's what I do, and it always helps taking a step back, and because that foundation has to be really on his fingertips. If the numbers is mentally on not his fingertips, if the additions and everything he's having problems and he's not understanding, or kind of getting lost in the process of the carryover, it doesn't, especially with the borrowing. Borrowing from 0, it becomes double zeros, and it becomes sometimes triple zeros, say 200 minus 142. It becomes really difficult for kids to borrow and then again borrow before even going into the other one. So you really have to slow down and do this. Once they get it done, they are done for the lifetime. So this has to be taught with lot of I would say with lot of care, and you have to make sure they are getting good at it. So consistency, daily practice of all this additions and subtractions is really necessary, because from here the long division and everything starts, it gets complicated with at least with the math. multiplication, as I was saying, why do I recommend kids, like moms and dads, to start multiplication, at least skip counting very early, in form of skip counting, because now they will do multiple, like the tables from 2 to 12 directly. There is no other choice, there is no room to wiggle, or there is like no runaway situation. So they will do multiples of 10 tables from 2 to 12, has to be thoroughly in their head memorized, because they will be using these as like the division facts in the next chapter. So from here it really gets complicated, and in a column form they do up to 4 digit, and the word problems really get complicated here. So using those tables they will be doing division by 2, by 3, 4 till 9, and then fact practices using the same table. So you see that set of 1 to 12 table is used in most of the part of the division division like lessons. So if you are not starting early from kindergarten, like the skip counting, like say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so every year if you don't increment it, or get used to it, it becomes really difficult for the kids, because they have to not only memorize, they have to like process that, and understand like how reversing it becomes the division, etc, etc. And then fact families, those triangle things, like what multiplied by what, and like say 16 divided by 8, so 2, so 8 to the 16, so stuffs like that. And division by tens, hundreds, and long division with and without remainder, and some basic word problems. I think word problems is only if your kid is advanced I will go there, because at school I don't think they go even that much deep into the long division. But I always recommend to start early, because I feel like they suddenly introduce and they just jump into jump in very deep. So I would recommend you to at least give them a taste of it, if not going full-fledged, like uh, so it's like basic, like dividing like a group of 10 apples between say 4 kids or 3 kids, like in terms of long division, like there might be some remainder, like the concept that there is something called remainder that exists. Roman numerals is something, it's new obviously, but it's mostly a concept of decoding and coding back from numbers. So it's they only stick to 1 to 50, they have to learn. But once you learn basic from 1 to 10 and what else stands for, you pretty much cover the whole chapter. So this is something I would do on a long weekend as a unit study, or between the summer break or any kind of winter break. I would do Roman numerals, and addition and subtraction is pretty easy. Like two Roman numeral addition numbers will be given, or addition or subtraction equation will be written. You decode it, you write the thing, and then you code them back to Roman form. Then fraction and decimals. So fraction is no more like all about coloring anymore. It actually becomes complicated to decimal, but up to 1 digit, like 0.8, or say 9.4, something like that. So only up to 1 digit after the decimal. So the basic what we have done earlier in 2nd grade, from there building up on that, they start proper improper mixed numbers, like 3 1 by 2, or 3.5, or 3 1 by 4. So they do mixed fractions, so simplifying it, converting it, so they play around with those, and then they compare it, like from if with similar numerator, with different new denominator, how the value changes, and then they order them from smallest to greatest and greatest to smallest. And then they do addition and subtraction using decimals, that to up to 1 digit. 1 digit as in, as I said, like 0.4, or 6.2. And fraction watt problems only. Decimal watt problems, thankfully, are not there yet. So we can still have some breather on that. Measurement length becomes like we have to do all in length. Not only we have to do units, measuring to the nearest quarter and inch. So they are using the rounding of concept into the nearest quarter over here, to the nearest inch and millimeter, and then converting comes in. Like, so you have to kind of remind yourself, or at least have anchor charts ready for how many yards make in like a feet, or how many inches is how many centimeters, or like say like 12 inches is 1 foot, something like. These are the basic, you need to memorize these. Without memorizing this, there is no way out. And then also comparing them, like which one is bigger, like yard is bigger or inch is bigger, feet is bigger or meter is bigger, comparing them, which is smaller. Then we have weight, reading and using scales, and units, of course, ounce, pounds, gram and kilogram. Converting weight as well is there, and it's between ounce to pounds, and then kg to gram, kilogram to gram. Then we have capacity also becomes complicated, because we not only do reading, measuring in cups, but we do the unit, like how cups, pins, quarter, gallon, how many cups makes a pint, how many pints makes a quart, how many quarts makes a gallon. All this relation has to be all in their fingertips, because otherwise they won't be able to do the conversion problems, like so many cups make so many pint. These things have to be really taught well, and with a slow and steady pace, and liter and milliliter relation. Next we have temperature. We still thankfully are in Fahrenheit and Celsius, no conversion yet, but we do have to talk about weather and temperature, and what problems not related to temperature, but only for length, weight and volume. Money is pretty much whatever we have done till second grade, 4 coins plus the bills. And now comes the shopping word problems, like rounding to the nearest dollar or with decimal. Like what will be the change if I have given this money, and then this much is the sell price, like not sell price, they will say like in terms of cost price thing, like this one is the retail price, then what would be the change for the shopkeeper should be giving me back to me. And money what problems will be like that, number 2 words and vice versa. Time and calendar comes together now. It becomes more about, like third grade is all about 3-digit numbers and conversions, converting between the different units, so that they understand how things go back and forth between the units. So time phrases like quarter past 2, or 5 minutes to noon, stuffs like that are listed in the time phrases. Telling and time and drawing clock face up to 1 minute interval, and elapsed time, estimating time, converting units, as I said, like how many seconds makes 1 minute, how many days makes a week. These things, the relation has to be taught very well, and you have to make sure they kind of remember that, because if they don't have the basic charts in front of them, because sometimes in some of the question papers there is no hints given, so they just have to pull it from their memory and solve the problem. Calendars, they use months as ordinal numbers, writing dates, reading calendars. Elapsed time concept based on the calendar. So far we were doing only on the clock, but we will be doing elapsed time on the calendars as well right now. and what problems again related to these. Geometry. Geometry, 2D shape. We have quadrilaterals, all the quadrilaterals, like new quadrilaterals like trapezoid, parallelogram, rhombus gets added, and the properties of quadrilateral parallelograms have to be taught, like how the parallel opposites are only parallel in a same way, and how all rectangles and squares, all squares are rectangles, and all not all rectangles are squares. This is another concept they get really confused. Triangle classifications, like right angle triangle, acute angle triangle, these by sides and angles, congruent triangle, isosceles triangle, these are the types of triangles they will be talking about. Circles and its parts, circles as in parts like, you know, the radius and the circumference, they will be talking about those, and diameter. And polygon, we will be doing like identifying regular and irregular, and type identification of polygons. Lines and angles. So after 2D shape, it's a new thing they have done. I think if you have followed like critical thinking, or if your child has been preparing for Whoopsie, this should be pretty easy, because lines and angles, there is like a big chunk of the book is about lines and angles. They talked about line, segment, and rays, how they are different, and they did actually have a chapter on right angles. So for critical thinking book followers, it should be, this chunk should be familiar, but for my viewers who are not familiar, I'll just go over a little bit. They will talk about the difference between line segments and rays, right angles, parallel and perpendicular lines, and right, obtuse, and acute angle. And that's why, you know, knowing the number of faces, edges, and vertices for each 2D shapes in before, like, you know, in second grade, it was recommended, because from here it starts getting little bit you know, the like use of protector to determine, like, you know, all the angles and the classifying the angles. It gets a little bit tough, and they also not only have to identify them but also measure them with, like, you know, degree, using a protector. Like, it's a full-fledged geometry box. If not, they're using like divider, but without the divider they're pretty much using everything. For parts of circle, they will be using a compass, and they will be using a protector for this. So identifying and drawing lines, segments, and angles. So this chunk is a new thing for all the second graders who are not, for all the second graders who went to third grade and didn't have any gifted testing preparation. These things gonna be really tough. So I'll try to put them in one chart, like, so that, you know, they know what to follow and how it kind of looks like comparatively. Third grade math, we also have area and perimeter. And area and perimeter now goes into grid form, and then they will be using like word problems a little bit, and they will be doing perimeter and area of rectangles, and they will be using grid mostly. So it's not that tough yet, but they have little bit more on area and perimeter. Congruency and symmetry of 2D shapes. So identifying congruent shape and drawing lines of symmetry and symmetrical shape, those are not that tough. So you know, it would be like another long weekend unit. And for only advanced kids, this is like the last topic today, I would recommend word problems with variables, basically introduction to basic algebra, like, you know, two unknown, and you know, how to solve it with like simultaneous equation. If you're following Singapore math, I think this is one of the things they had in challenging books. So only if your child is advanced and will be taking you know, like gifted testing, then only I will recommend to introduce it at that level. Otherwise you can wait it out, you know, to use it as a something to teach during the break, like the summer vacation in between the grades. So that's pretty much it. I think we covered it all. So that was the end of our video today. See you in the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.